morning, one and all present here. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Let me introduce Dr. Shankha Bhattacharya. He did his postdoctorate from Indian Institute of Technology, BHU Varanasi, in Cancer Nanomedicine and Molecular Pharmacology. He did his PhD from School of Pharmacy, RK University, Rajkot. He did his graduation and post-graduation from SRM University, Chennai, with first class and distinction likewise. He did his post-graduation diploma in IPR from Bioinformatics Institute of India, Noida, and a post-graduation diploma in clinical research from Institute of Good Manufacturing Practice, Noida, India. He served as an associate professor in the Department of Pharmaceutics, ISF College of Pharmacy, Moga, Punjab, with an experience of 11.6 years combining with research and teaching. He is currently working as an associate professor in School of Pharmacy and Technology Management, SVKM's NIMS, deemed to be University, Sherpur, Maharashtra, India. He has published more than 15 national and 40 international papers in high impact factor and peer reviewed journals. He authored 3 books, 4 book chapters on international platform. 2 patents has been published in Indian Patent Office Journal, one of which is about to grant. During 2016, he has been awarded with Minor Research Fellow from Gujarat Council of Science and Technology for his astonishing contribution in cancer research. He is also a registered PhD guide for pharmaceutical sciences under IK Gujarat Punjab Technical University. Moreover, he has received HREA Annual Award 2020 in the field of research in pharmacy by Human Rights Education Association, Vadodara, Gujarat, India. Recently, he has been awarded with Global Teaching Excellence Award 2020 in subcategory of Top 10 Professors of the Year. Furthermore, he also received prestigious Excellence Teaching in Higher Education Award by Sidra Bahudeshya Vikas Sansthan on July 2020. Research area of interest of Dr. Shankha includes designing and developing nanocarriers for cancer targeting, artificial neural network, principal component analysis, PKPD profiling, etc. It's my immense pleasure to introduce you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much for one introduction on your behalf. It is always connected. It has been very much pleasure for me to be connected with all of you. As rightly Janki ma'am was discussing that I have spent almost 7 years in Gujarat. So in different colleges I worked, as well as I did my PhD from Gujarat. So there has always been a connection with the Gujarati and Gujarati peoples out there. And the topic which I'm going to discuss today, it is having a wide range of application. It is already applied in the pharmaceutical education in Gujarat, as well as in the administrative aspect of Gujarat. See, I want to highlight that today's topic is not related to any kind of research, but how you incorporate research as well as how you incorporate anything in a prospective life, and how you can inculcate the quality. So it is all about. That's why it is called as design thinking. We think something else, but we cannot implement. But since we are in in our Narsee Monjee Institute of Management Studies, which always emphasize how to incorporate research as well as also academic education. So outcome-based learning is one of the key component of our institute, and that's why our students are getting placed in a very big multinational companies. And the multinational companies also are thinking about the design thinking, because it gives a complete outcome as well as the quality so that can be imbibed to the customers. So with this thought, with your prior permission, I want to share my PPT. First and foremost, my screen is visible to all of you. Yes? Is it visible? Is it visible?
Just a minute. I think it is present. Is it presenting? I think. Just a minute. Still, it is not visible to me. Please share it again, sir.
Yes, yes, I'm sharing.
Yeah, it is there. Yes. It is
Okay.
visible.
Okay. So design thinking. We are talking about the design thinking. Now, first and foremost is what is design thinking? So we all do have multiple thought which is always smuggled in our mind. But how we can be able to incorporate this stuff in the long run and how it can be a productive, that is always been challenged. We come up with a lot of ideas and ultimately we end up with the one we thought of it would be better, but at the end we must found that idea may not be having a very good outcomes. But if the company is taking the step of design thinking, so what are the challenges and what are the different the objectives they achieve? That is the main thing to be understand. But I am going to highlight not only the industry but also the academic institution, certain aspect of administration of any state, why the some states in India are better, why they have incorporated design thinking. Prior we understand the terminology design thinking they have already incorporated, and that's why they become a model state of India. And we sense and deeply understand the importance of design thinking, how it can actually gives a complete paradigm shift, can bring a complete paradigm shift for the students education. So that's why design thinking is not only restricted to research, but design thinking is also implemented to each and every thought process, even human values, even in your human personal decision. In that also, the design thinking can play a pivotal role. So without further delay, I want to start about the design thinking process. So first and foremost, what the things we are going to discuss about in this content, we will be discussing about the basic design approaches, that approaches on which you can able to identify the design and how we can able to improvise the quality of productivity. The process of design thinking, the process, if you can actually imbibe the quality and the process of design thinking in our thought process, it can actually definitely elevate our thinking, and at the same time it can give a product quality. See, a famous line by Steve Jobs, the late Steve Jobs of Apple. He said once that design is not what we make, design is what we built for the customers. So this is nothing but that is a deep sense of understanding about this thought process that actually indicates that what customer needs, what customer understand, how customers can be beneficial for it. Now, most of the peoples might be knowing about the smartwatch, which has been introduced by the Steve Jobs in the early 2020, I think 20 in the 20th century, have introduced. But initially, the smart watch was not the smartwatch. Indeed, it is like a pager. So after that, it was being converted to the utilizing the design thinking. It was being converted to as a smartwatch. So it actually become more customer friendly, as well as the people love to consume, love to take the Apple. Can you see the people are so crazy about the Apple iPhone and all. They want to purchase the things. How they have built such kind of aura because of the design thinking. because those who can able to connect with the student, those who can connect with the people, those who can connect with the good quality researchers, they can be a good outcome based work they can do, and at the same time they can quill out the best quality of work from the every person. So that's why this design thinking is not restricted to any field. It is all about your ideology. It is all to reincarnate as well as re-establish your ideology in that in the same dimension on which the productivity can be improvised with a limited peer pressure. We often see the people are suffering from peer pressure to execute. Colleges are pressuring us, universities are pressuring us from outcomes and all. Everyone wants outcome, right? But at the same time, how can we do have a limited period of time. We have to manage our lot of things. But design thinking can bring a best outcome for this. So one of the famous one of the famous story I want to highlight, since design thinking is little bit philosophical, so I think you guys might not be thinking, so, but if you can able to improvise these things in your life, obviously the outcome of the research or outcome of your education will be improvised. Now, one of the famous story I want to highlight in this, once upon a while, one sage was been wandering one a forest, and all of a sudden, one person, a common man, come to him, and he is asking, "Oh my sage, oh my lord, I was not able to withstand the peer pressure from my society. I was so hectic with the burden. I have a lot of pressure in my life. What I can do?" Then sage silently asked him, "Okay, take this particular stone and walk away with me in this deep forest." And he did the same. But after a few minutes, after he was suffering from some kind of muscle pain and so on, then he asked repeatedly to the sage, "Sir, master, what I should do?" Then sage tell him clearly, "Now you can just throw away this stone and walk away with me once again." After a few moments, then the sage asked to him, "So how do you feel now?" Then he said, "It is, I'm feeling better. I'm feeling good, great." Okay, now then sage explained, if you take any burden in our life, if you can take and carry forward the burden in our life, then automatically we are always being sabotaged by this burden, and we can die eventually. So that means the things which comes to us is we consider it as a burden. We never consider it as a challenge, or we cannot consider, we should ignore and improvise the quality. So ultimately, the sage want to convey that if you don't take anything which has come to you as a burden, rather than as a challenge, or rather than as a normal duty, then automatically the peer pressure will not be taking place. And then he said, the particular person said that I feel now relaxed from this. I feel a lot of relax from this, because the things which give yourself a lot of pain, that can create a problem in the long run. So we need to find out how to overcome the pain, and that's why the design thing is more important. As far as the researcher, which many of in our country, we do have a lot of pressure for research as well as good quality educations. So that's why this design thinking is much more important. Not only, as I've already told you, it is not restricted to any institute or any company. It is applicable to our life also. So next important step is opportunity offered by the design thinking. And one point I want to highlight, if you can see many of the big gigantic or many big tycoon or the people like Adani, Ambani, and many peoples like I want to tell you about the Ratan Tata. Those who are so, those who are actually mixed up and so charismatic in their life, they have achieved a lot through design thinking. They live very simply. Their livelihood is very simple. Actually, we consider sometimes they are miser, they are cunning, they are living, they want to save their money, but it is not the case actually. So they actually correctly implicated the design thinking in their day-to-day life. So simplicity is the best policy, and simplicity brings the good quality of outcomes as far as the design thinking are concerning. So in next couple of slides, we will understand why the people as well as the customers demands simple things with a high efficient quality. Simple things with high efficient quality. If you can imbibe in our product, if you can imbibe in our life, that automatically our society, our at the same time our quality was improvised. So next important part is design thinking versus traditional problem solving. So the best way of design thinking is, many of us who are Sutix people, we do a lot of work on design of experiment as well as principal component analysis. Many of us, we are very much confident about this terminology, and we have a lot of investment in this dimension. But what is the ultimate, what is the ultimate outcome of it? We are actually prioritize our independent and dependent variables, as well as we are restricted not to utilize too much of chemicals and waste of the stuff. So that actually is basic concept of the design, formulation, design, and development. So how we can also improvise this design in our day-to-day activity is all also a part and parcel of design thinking. Next approach is design thinking integrations. How we can able to integrate?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes. Hello.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. If you are changing the slide here, the slides are not changing.
No, I have not changed.
It is on the first table of content.
No, I have not changed it. I have not changed it.
Okay, sure.
Thank you for correcting me. I have not changed yet. Okay. So design thinking integration is one of the key aspects. There's the last part of the table of content which we need to talk about, the design thinking integration. So integration means amalgamation of all the stuff in a single way so that it can be improvise our quality. So next we will be talking about what is design thinking, how we can actually improvise the thinking thought process. First and foremost is empathy. So empathize the substance. If you don't empathize the substances, then obviously you cannot succeed. And next is you define. So empathy is not restricted to, it is talks about the human values, how we can give a value to the particular things. See, if you are an autocritic, some of the, I want to highlight of two states. I want to do a comparison of two states. One is West Bengal and another is Gujarat. So West Bengal is, and I think will be led by some autocratic forces, and therefore the government thinking in a very autocratic manner. Once in a while, I have visited West Bengal. It is a very urban areas are very good, but the rural areas are still they are in below poverty line. Okay, now the government is trying to address the issues of some local peoples out there. So how the design thinking implicated now with this case study, you will be able to understand. Now the people out there, the rural population is suffering from scarcity of water. So water is a big problem for them. So government, without any consultation with any person, they have established a drinking water plant out there. Not a plant, I think it's a tank was been inserted out there, and government have asked them to pay 5 rupees per 10 liter of water. And most important part is there is no microeconomy out there, like no micronization. That part also I'm going to discuss about how the micronization has actually terraformed our lifestyle. That will also I'm going to discuss. It has been started in 1991. Okay, now coming to the point of that thought process. Now, in the same time that you can able to withdraw only 10 liters of water from the tank. Okay. From the tank with the pay of 5 rupees. Okay, money is not an issue, but the tank was being inserted and it in the one small mountain out there. So then what happened? The people are actually going for the water. They are not approaching to the particular tank, but rather than they are actually approaching to the nearest well, which is actually full of filthy and pugnacious water. So government was in a big deep of thinking why the things are not changing and why the peoples are not coming to us. Now later on, local administration, thanks to the local administrator, have actually talked with the people. Then are able to understand. Most of the time, when the water have been given to them, during that time, the man of the household are actually going for some kind of work in outside. And for a woman, it is very, very, I think it is very much partial to have, she need to actually carry 10 liters of water in her wrist, and it is quite impossible. Nobody can able to do this. And there are no microeconomy system out there. Because nobody can take with the 1 rupees 5 liter of water. They have to take 10 liter of water. So it is a very difficult task for them. And then slowly, government realized her mistake, and then subsequently the problems have been sorted out. And then the plant was incorporated not only in the hillish place, but within their panchayat. Now, same thing happened while the Modiji was same thing happened when the Modiji was in Kutch and Gujarat area. When I'm talking about 2011. So same thing happened, and Modiji is very much during that time he was I think chief minister. So he was so key to address the common people issues. He actually want to have a specific feedback. And same thing happened, and he addressed very nicely. And he actually initially he took some input from the local people, and he developed some gram panchayat and so many things. That is a big case study out there. I just want to talk the gist of it. And slowly, 1 tank of the purified water was being developed from that by the pipe. It was being drained to the corresponding local each and every houses, it seems. So it becomes so easy for the people. It becomes so convenient. So there is always been a tussle between an autocratic system as well as a democratic system. Democratic system always talks about giving a feedback and taking a feedback from the people, and so that the local problems can be sorted out. See, the problem is not a big problem. Addressing the problem is a big problem. Nobody want to address the problem, but they can able to talk in a very nice manner, and they can get many kind of things that happen. So these two case study, it's completely clear our picture how design thinking can be improvised. One more case study I want to highlight about the recent hours. So when I'm preparing the slide, I come to know the government of Gujarat is already incorporated another design thinking within their administration. So I come to know that they have actually not allowed any MLAs, recently selected MLAs, to work. But rather than the working culture was being changed, a lot of IS, IPS officers were working on behalf of government, and the selected MLAs have been asked to go and address the issues of the local people. So that is another approach of design thinking. So people are always say about the Gujarat model. It is not about the Gujarat model. It is about how you think, how you can change our livelihood. That is important. And not only I'm not politicize anything else, but I also want to highlight in 1991, when the globalization was been taking place and microeconomy was being introduced in the Indian places, diaspora. So when the Dr. Manmohan Singh was our finance minister, he introduced the microeconomy. So microeconomy means previously we need to purchase at least 5 liters of oils and 500 ml, 600 ml, 1 liter of shampoos for entire family. But he understood the customization, and he implemented the design thinking out there, and then he introduced the micronized sachet-based system. So first and foremost, to understand the design thinking, it is important to have empathy. So empathize the substances. Now let's have a correlation with our education system. We in any university, and we follow strictly to our education curriculum as well as the timeline. We need to follow strictly the timeline. But have we ever talked about the grievances and the challenges of the students, how they are facing some issues? We have not placed any specific column to how to introduce and how to talk with the people. We always dictate as well as we communicate our knowledge to the students. But design thinking seems a platform where you first address the issues and talk about what is outcome-based education. First, you have to talk about the outcomes of the curriculum which you are teaching them. Then first you need to address what is the benefit out of it. Then they can able to actually get some insight of the things, and they find inquisitive. They find the content more inquisitive, and they want to start connecting with you. Once they're connected with you, believe me, they actually try to they want to know about the subject well. Say many of us actually teaching in multiple subjects, but one thing including me, while I was not exposed to the design thinking, including me, we used to have a dictation. We used to want to complete the syllabus, but we don't want to empathize the syllabus. To empathize of the syllabus means we need to give a complete understanding of the syllabus to the student from the first point to the last point. Then we can start our discussion. What could be the possible things? So students are curiously listening you. Then students are trying to understand what could be the outcome of the stuff and how they can correlate with the substances. So empathy is more important than defining the empathy is important. Then ideate, the idea, like channelizing the idea is another kind of it. So when I was talking about the define, so once if you empathize, when you convey the message to any person, any company, suppose I'm now let's have correlation with the company. So once you empathize, so many tangible, intangible ideas will be muddled in their minds. They will be coming up a lot of idea. We always give a filters. We keep a filters initially. If students come to us, we always keep a filter in front of us. We say that, okay, your idea is very good, but you cannot probably, it is not feasible. Okay, now it is important to try. You give them a privilege. You can give them, the students, a privilege to try this idea initially. At least they should have a very good sense of understanding of the subject, and then you can actually formulate. And you can actually mold the design accordingly. As we are expertise to the fraternity, we are expertise with the Sutics, we are expertise in the chemistry. First, any students come to us, we always superimpose. I believe it is a perfect word. Superimpose our thought process to them. No, you have to design your thinking according to our thought process, because my field of expertise in this dimension, if I can give my best to it. But design thinking is not like this. So design thinking is, we ask the students, okay, please tell me what is your field of interest, in what dimension you want to incorporate your research. Once you ask them, then it becomes more empathetic. Then subsequently, he can come up with multiple thought process. Once his multiple thought process comes to you, you can ask them, which was you just go through the feasibility of the research, whether the chemicals and instruments are available in your premises. If it is feasible, now you can give your valuable input in this, and so that the quality of research will come up. Believe me, once the students are connected with their own thought process, they can come up with a very good quality idea, as well as they can come up with a very good quality product outcome also. I have seen many students who actually commercialize the products in the market also. They are by through some DST, DBT sponsorship. They did a lot of stuff in this dimension. Once they actually entertained because if they find entertainment from the faculties or the guides, they actually do a lot of stuff and they want to contribute in this dimension. So define, then ideate, then prototypes. Once you've been ready with the ideation, let's correlate with this idea, how you can correlate. So once you've been ready with the things, now it is important to customize the things. Like many of us know about the Dell company, many of us know about the PepsiCo company, many of us know about the Facebook. So they believe in one thing, how to customize the product. They take a continuous feedback from ourselves, so that they can improvise, and then they launch. Suppose a software is launching in the domain in a form of beta version. Beta version is the prototype. It is not the actual one. So after that, then once all the feedback have been gathered, and once the prototype have been designed, then automatically it is going for a testing. Then once it has been testing, the testing have been done so nicely, then automatically it can come up with a product. And that product, believe me, that product will be accepted unequivocally by the elsewhere of the entire world, because it is so customized, it is so personified with a lot of ideas and the lot of feedbacks. So that's why the Steve Jobs thought process was so pragmatic. Design is not what you build. Design is what you make for the people. So it has become more pragmatic. So we need to design for the people, for the students, for the any scientist, for our society. We have to design. We have to ask the feedback first, then incorporate. Do not incorporate and you just say. We should not sell our idea. We should sell the idea of people, okay, in a form of product. And that's why the design thinking is important. So once again I repeat, we should not sell our idea. We should take the feedback from the people and incorporate the idea in a form of product. Then you sell the product to the market. That is a main aspect of design thinking. Why some universities are taking a lot of effort, but they could not able to make it off, because they want to charismatically highlight the importance of their and significance of the institute. But unfortunately, not only institute, any company also, it is not restricted to institute or university. It is also talking about some companies. They also want to highlight. One of the companies called Mankind. Mankind is not a company. Mankind is a marketing-based company. It is not a product. They want to highlight the Mankind, but everyone knows what Sun Pharma is, because people are more focus on the good quality products. We focus there. If you silently take the feedback from the customers and you incorporate the quality within this product, automatically the persons will be taking forward. So another example I want to highlight about the design thinking is during this pandemic, many of people have lost their jobs, especially the people who are in the lower wages. They don't get the much more amount. So some of our government, central government, take the initiative to provide a free pulses, free free grains, free vegetables, and free oils to some peoples out there, and actually it helps them. And then automatically, and a confidence was been reflected to the people, and automatically it is transformed in the form of a product. Just a moment, sir. I'm in the meeting. I'll call you later. So automatically it has been transformed to the society, and then automatically it comes up with some good quality election results. So design thinking is everything. So don't ask to the person, you don't sell your product, but take the feedbacks, and automatically you can incorporate the thinking, so the product will be improvised. What students need, actually we don't, that many students don't need a charismatic and very beautiful, lavish environment, but they do need a very good quality teachers who can understand them. First and foremost, the students who are coming from the different part of the world, with different part of India, different part of states, they want you from us they want. They should understand their process, their pain. They actually left their family. First of all, this is more important. And ultimately, once you understand, automatically it can actually create a chain reaction, and automatically institute grow. Because if you can able to understand, empathize So this is the empathy, definition, idea, prototype, test. If you do this, automatically you can get get good quality products. Automatically you get a good students out there. Automatically the quality of the products will be accepted by the people. One of the best example is iPhone, as I'm talking about. See, I'm not restricted to any. I'm not restricted to any particular field of education or not particular field of any company, but it is applicable to anything. I was actually trying through my conversation. I was trying to summarize in a geopolitical, sociological, as well as socio-economical aspects, how we can incorporate the design thinking in this aspects. So now next we'll be talking about the different the approaches, as I've already mentioned. This is develop the deep understanding of the changing. Then clarity articulates the problems you want to solve. As I already told you, you need to solve the problems. Then brainstorming potential solutions. So this is the place, as I told you, the ideate. Here the students, as I'm a teacher, so I want to highlight here that students need an idea from us. So first of all, you define them, empathize them, automatically they can come up with some idea. We have to encourage them, their idea, ask them whether it is feasibilities or possibilities or not. Then you keep on motivating him. As a faculty, I want to correlate the stuff. It is not for the company of Indeed. Okay. So if you have to correlate the thought process, then automatically a good quality idea develop. Then you ask them, a student should make the prototype. He will give his heart and soul. He or she will give his heart and soul to develop such prototype, because he got entertained, he got understand, he have been listened by you. So that is the main aspect. So listen to the people. When I was studied, I want to tell you one thing. This was many of the faculty members out there, or many of the faculties who were older than me, they know that their teachers used to give instruction when to abide by the rules and regulation of the instructor. We used to be like this, but we never, our feedback was not important during that time. But in the long this age, we have to have a proper feedback, because believe me or not, once I was started with this kind of design thinking in my research, the exponential identification, the exponential growth I was observing in my life, it is completely transmutated my thought process, and automatically it was been emphasized. The students are coming with a lot of ideas. We are discussing, we are implementing, and it actually articulate in multiple dimensions. So design and prototypes, then automatically prototypes evolve, and then we can go for testing. During the testing, if the prototype is ready, you can also ask for any kind of funding agencies. So give the platform to the students, they can go for a funding, and then they can definitely get a win, because he with his lot of receptors, a lot of his thought process was being incorporated in this project. He used to give his heart and soul in long run of his lifetime. Her lifetime. He remembered this project development, and then automatically he will engage and continuously innovate the process, and then automatically a good quality product comes. So one of the example I want to highlight during the time of you might be knowing about the Stanford University. So Stanford University always they're having a design school out there. So design school out there, what they have found out that in the Nepal, in our adjacent country Nepal is suffering from child mortality due to the heavy snowfall during the winter season. But then they used to keep some incubator in the hospitals. The Nepali government used to keep incubator, but they can save only limited number of children out there. But they cannot able to save large number of people out there. Now the Nepal, this was being addressed. That these problems have been completely understood by the university, and then they started to incorporate. They want to develop some kind of prototypes. First, they empathize the problem. So first and foremost, they have actually started thinking the process, and they gain the empathy and understand the problem. So the Stanford University understand and actually understand the problems, and then they subsequently started to thinking how we can incorporate. They come up with a lot of ideas. How can we can remove the mortality rate out there? So problem is in Nepal is not being developed well. So what happened? The connectivity is a big problem. Secondary aspect is electricity is a big problem, because as you know, if you want to run an incubator in your home, if you want to make Stanford is trying to initially to incorporate a homemade incubator inside this home. So it needs it needs a connectivity. It's need a connection, proper connection of electricity, but it has not been take place because of remote locations. Then they come up with the idea, why can't we make a mobile, handy type of incubator so everybody can use? So initially they actually emphasized the problems, and the research was been taking for in this dimension. And after the problem had been understood, they want to define the problem well. So stage 2 is define the problem. Stage your needs and the problems. It is accumulate the informations to you create and gather during the emphasizing the stage. You analyze the observation and synthesize them to define the core problems. You need to emphasize and synthesize the core problem. Let's come to that once again. So here they have understood the problem well. Now they want to address it. So as I've already told you, they have faced the problems that because of this incubation and all. They come up with a new brilliant idea. Why can't we prepare a polymeric based incubator, which is too much mobile and it is too much handy. Anybody can use, and we want to cost cut. We want to make a product in a very concise manner, as well as the quality of the. There should not be any compromise with the quality. So then they come up with a new polymeric based incubator. It is look like a baby castle. It is baby castle look like a baby castle, small baby castle look like. So it has been created and it has been given. And it is not restricted to, believe me, this is not restricted to the Nepal. It has been traveled and it has been accepted by the many European countries where these small incubators have been accepted by the many of the companies, many of the countries, European countries actually, especially because the heavy snowfalls are there and they want to save their children out there accordingly. But how it is possible, how they can actually market the particular baby castle there, because it is possible because they implemented the design thinking. They addressed the problem initially. Do not prepare a product and sell the product. The first important part is do not prepare a product and sell the product. First, you address the product, address the idea, incorporate the idea, develop the idea, then subsequently you should correlate the idea with the normal, correlate, and then subsequently you give the product to the society. Automatically the problem have been solved. The problem have been solved automatically. Now, one thing I want to highlight now due to the Bombardian thought process, many thoughts are coming in the market, and many institute always like to introduce some such kind of concept. One is called contribution, one to say suppose design thinking, some other thought process are always coming to that outcome based education, assurance of learning. Many terminology you guys might be knowing about right now, because these terminologies are Bombardian in many aspects of education system. But due to these things, where is our education? The questions comes, where is our education? Initially, we used to have a proper education, but nowadays, due to this compilation, we always miss the education. But during this point also, we have to understand. Previously, we used to prepare notes, we used to deliver the notes. Eventually, now also we do. But problem is the notes and each and everything which we are talking in the class, it is already available on the internet. The students are getting information in a single click. So where is our role right now? How the design thinking can be improvised this quality. So our role is to become a felicitator, not to faculty. We should not be a faculty, we need to be a felicitator. How to become a more felicitator, as well as facilitator. This too, how we can be by through design thinking. So this we have to gather a lot of informations, and we have to customize the information for the students. Students should come with the idea, we have to address their idea, and once you address the idea, you understand what his thought process and visions. Based on that, based on the thought process, we have to go with some homework from our own, then give your wisdom to the students. Automatically students will be charged up to do a lot of good things. So now we have to think differently. Like we are always what thinking, like we are the people who create creative society. We were all are prestigious to have a this kind of job. We all are professor out there, or our students also might be become a professor in upcoming days. But what we have to do, what is our contribution? We have to felicitate in such a manner that they should actually come up with the problems. They should not take the problems like a problem. It should take as a day-to-day activity. At the same time, they should not take the burden, and they can incorporate his thought and vision in his thought process. Because you can see even the foreign countries why they are too much developed, because they give the entertainment. The companies and the government is giving too much of entertainment to their ideas. Now it is important, high time, because everyone knows about the three laws of Isaac Newton. The Newton established three laws, so everyone knows it. If in a single click, it is there. People also know these things. But what next? What next? The implementation. How you can do once anybody having a specific knowledge to the particular field. Once we can emphasize and give them knowledge to improvise, he or she can inculcate such knowledge and improvise slowly. And once he improvise, you have to give them motivation to do so. So same thing happened with the government sector also. Governments often, you can remember, when the economy goes slow, becomes so sluggish, slow down, they introduce some stimulus package. You are much more familiar with this terminology called stimulus package. Stimulus package is only to boost the economy. Okay, so same thing happened. We have to give some stimulus response, or we can say the wisdom of knowledge to our students so that they can design. Ultimately, the students are the creator of the future, and we are the creator of the students. So we do have a lot of responsibility in our shoulders to carry forward. So that's why the design thinking is one of the key components to ideate and channelize the process. Next important part is the prototype. You might be wondering why I'm keeping a Hanzi ketchup, tomato ketchup out there. So there's a big important part which I want to highlight, because initially many of us actually in day-to-day life, we do have a tomato ketchup, right? We used to have a tomato ketchup and we used to take this. But you might be wondering that the last part of the tomato ketchup, we cannot able to take it out. And there are huge number of cake formation can be developed in the last, in the ground of the bottle. Obviously, it is a glass bottle. Now, what happened to address the issue? Because you know that this ketchup is very brand, nobody want to lose the money. They cannot able to take it out. They want to utilize the entire ketchup. So ultimately, the company got a lot of grievances, lot of feedbacks, how to modulate, and then company actually come up with such type of prototypes to tomato ketchup. Again, the company actually takes a lot of feedback, and the second picture which you are observing, it is actually at the final one. But prior to that, there was a prototype which has been introduced in the market, and company is constantly taking the feedback. And then you can see that it has always been in the inclined or declined position. So automatically, the people, the student, the consumer take the product, and then automatically it keeps accordingly. So nearly 95% of the tomato ketchup can be utilized, which is completely it is a complete understanding of design thinking. And the first contemporary or traditional tomato ketchup was not being completely utilized, but the second is and will be. So that's the main aspect of design thinking. How and it becomes, once it is so customer friendly, the Heinz tomato ketchup becomes so popular to the people, and everyone used to love to purchase the product. Automatically, it increase the sale of the product, and if it is the sale of the product improvise, as per SPSS and Six Sigma understanding, it was observed that every person's salary of the particular company have increased up to 60%. So you can see that how the design thinking can actually completely change the dimension of thinking. And next approach is simplicity. As I in my presentation in earlier, I already talked about the simplicity. We are completely fed up with the contemporary TV remotes. We might be having some kind of TV remotes, and we are wondering which sometimes in old our obviously our parents, they are used to become so scary. They don't want to touch the TV remotes. They don't want to have this. They don't want to because of so many buttons. They find it might be that the TV might be get destroyed or something might be happening. So that is a contemporary thought process. In the contemporary way of the first picture, it is the TV remote. Obviously, it is off of lot of button, lot of function. People are so confused, terrified to use more these things. So it becomes only customized to the certain quality person who can actually handle this such kind of TV remotes. And eventually you can see that you in your home also, the elderly grandfather is asking his grandchildren, okay, can you open the TV and I want to watch the TV and this so and on. He was little scared about to utilize this kind of product. However, in new dimension of design thinking, now in the next you can see the new smart TV remotes are coming in the market. The smart TV remotes coming with a lot of customization. So can you see the bottom? There are very limited buttons are there. Why? Because now I can see the smartphones are being utilized, and smartphones, smart TVs, smart things are actually been so popular to the older people. They are also trying to connect in the social media. They want to also try to connect with smart TVs also there, because it becomes so friendly. It was been created such a way our design works, our thought process works. You know that which dimension which dimension the forward, back is there. So it becomes so easy for them. So this is the complete outcome of the design thinking. So the product becomes so acceptable by the society. If the product is get acceptable, automatically the product will get sale. It is not restricted to any institute. It is not restricted to politics. It is not restricted to any company. It is restricted only the mindset. Once Modi ji said, mind is not a problem, mindset is. Once you change our mindset, automatically our design thinking will be incorporated. I would like to highlight one more thing. I'm not praising any individual, but once I was teaching in Gujarat. Gujarat is the one single state which introduced one course in contribution personality development in 7th semester. I don't know whether it is now available or not, because I have not part and parcel of G2 right now. Contributed personality development. Why it has been introduced in the first year as well as in the 7th semester? Because this actually create a creative thought process, creative thinkings to the. It is also a you can say a nursery for the design thinking. So I would like to congratulate entire the visionary thought process of the Gujarat model. That is actually the Gujarat model. It is not that we want to develop the buildings. It is what we have to develop our thought process, the design of the thinking. If you can design the thing, automatically the product will be coming out in a very pragmatic way. Pragmatization is much important. So once we address all the issue, opportunities are going to kiss you, because opportunities are welcoming you. And you can see, might have seen many people are so crazy to have the smartphone, iPhone. I think they want to sell anything for them. Even I can see some people actually sell their kidney to purchase an iPhone itself. So crazy. Why? The smartphones are, the Samsung smartphones are there. Why people go so crazy with these things? because this iPhone, because they are connected. See, buildings cannot create the environment. The building blocks, the teachers create an environment, and teachers with the incorporated of the design thinkings can completely change the education system. And we can imbibe the quality, not only restricted to I want again reiterating the same thing. It is not restricted to the teachers. It is not restricted to any individual. It is for everyone, even a company person also. If he incorporate design thinking, in long run, he can get a lot of achievements. So design thinking can also be a challenging sometimes due to the fact that the companies cannot usually create with the primary intention and understanding of the patient journey. So sometimes it is always challenging. As I've told you about, some challenges are also there. And it can be used to improvise the technology or organization process. So one challenge of the design thinking is every person feedback varies. So we have to give a proper Six Sigma modeling out there. So, and once you do the proper Six Sigma, as well as once you do a proper, validation, then we can come up with some validatory points. The key points we consider boom words. That boom's keywords. It is not a boom taxonomy. It's a boom words, which actually emphasize the common problems. We have to first address the common problem of any customers. Once you address it, and it is only possible once you constantly take the feedback from the customers. One of the companies called as Dell. Dell is a technocrate company. It's actually incorporated a lot of products as as a laptop and all. Dells are so customized, so customer friendly, and their products are they used to take a lot of feedback from the company, from the customers, and they eventually develop. So you have to, if you want to, people don't want to, see, I already told you, the company should not sell their product, but they should sell the idea of the customers in a form of product. Okay, that is the main aspect. And it is only possible when they incorporate a design thinking in a department in their field, and it is constantly take a feedback from the customers, but not in offensive way. Not in the offensive way. Obviously, it should be in a polite and emphasized in a very specific manner. So pharma can adopt the design thinking to provide a clear and simple experiment that can get a heart of patients and without having a need of less overwhelming them. So that's the main important part. So we also, as a pharma person, we should also address, we always address in the marketing sector, we always address the not a patient, but we always address the physicians, the doctors. But we should also think in that way. You should ask the patient in a person what the challenges they are facing, and they should do a proper clinical trials, post-marketing surveillance. This is the post-marketing surveillance at the phase 4 is the best way of implementing design thinking in our dimension of pharma. Okay, so post-marketing survey, even every institute should have a proper post-marketing surveillance, not for any medicine, but for at least students of the pharmacy practice students should ask to the nearest places what the challenges of the patients are facing during the medication. What are the challenges they are facing in the form of because idiosyncrasy is a big problem, and gene variation and person-to-person variation is a big problem. So if you can customize and if you constantly, that is called drug information center, as well as that's design-based surveillance center, if it is developed by the pharmacy practice students in the institute for the nearest people. So it also can be transformed, the design thinking. It become a great nutshell for the companies, which can get some information from the centers. And then based on that information, they can incorporate and design the product well. Because right now the companies are restricted only to, the companies are only restricted to the medical representative, their feedbacks, as well as their some clinical trials organization. But if it has been generalized in such a manner, in a chain way, then automatically any companies can become a giant because they can meet the product. Also, the challenges. One of the example I want to highlight. One small company, we are doing a dissolution study in our college. So we find out one company, I don't want to name the company, another company product, both are metformin product. One, we are getting a viability of only 26%, but that company is a very good company. That is 26% of viability we are getting, and also the release pattern is only 66% or 67% or something like that. But they claim that the viability of the so-and-so, the potent product has been improvised. But they claim it, but the reality is different. However, small companies are having a such and such product. So this is the problem. This is the case study. Why it is happening? Even we can go for a filing and we can counterclaim the company. Why you are saying we already have the evidence out of it? So ultimately, if the viability of the product is not good and if the release is not good, ultimately it can lead to toxicity to the person, and that people are actually attracting to the company and they do this stuff. But if such design thinking thought process is being inserted in the institute, and if they are getting a survey report from for the particular product, and if this product survey report can give into the certain friendly company, they can incorporate the product in. They can incorporate the challenges. They can address the challenges, and they can incorporate the product in the market. And that, believe me or not, ultimately customers, the patients get the benefit, and customers automatically get when they will be coming to the doctors. Then the patient will be saying, "Sir, I have received as you prescribed. So this is the product. So I have received a very good benefit from this." So simultaneously, we can partially target the patients, partially and fully target the physicians. So accordingly, design thinking also can be a paradigm shift, a building blocks to our education as well as our industrial point of view. So design thinking, I just want to highlight, we do have a limited time. Design thinking integrations or optimization is one of the things we need to think and emphasize all the parameters of our problems. And subsequently, planning is a one key component. We have to do a lot of trial and error, learning from the failures. We should learn from the failures, and the small expertise and experience is more important. And the traditional problems is always focus on customers, but in the design thinking, we always strong customer relationship. So we should not focus on the customers rather than relationship building. What actually some politician, some political parties are doing. So they want to make a strong customer relation. They want to make a strong people relationship. Not to focus on customer, not to focus on their caste, creed, gender. Focus on their customized relationship, and that is called design thinking. And they do a small experiment, and they come up with a lot of ideas. Okay, so design thinking obviously is a long term. It is a trial and error basis, and there are many failures of the design thinking. I should not address only the outcome of the design thinking. I should not say about it's completely flawless. Everything is having a flaw because there are certain external factors which can actually always affect. That's why many things are not in our hand. So we should always respect the things. Once we start respecting our situations, our failures, everything is success. Everything is, even failures also success. If we're respecting our failures, try to respect our failures. Because failures is success, because failures teach a lot of lessons. Once in a while, the famous quote by APJ Abdul Kalam said, "Do not read the success stories. It will always teach you how to incline." But if you read the failure stories, these failure stories give you motivation and understanding how you can able to improvise in your life. So design thinking is always trial and error basis, not to precise planning. Because nothing is perfect. Nothing is plan based. Once you start, we concentrate on precise planning. That means we are incorporating peer pressure. Once person is in peer pressure, nothing will be in the right place. So that's why the trial and error is the one key component, and obviously strong customer relationship is the main approach of the design thinking. Next aspect is the design thinking, how we can incorporate it. This point I already covered. First, we have to better understand the learning of audience. We should listen the audience first. Audience, what their grievances, what their queries. I'm just winding up. We are having limited time, so we should be able to identify the what you do and what you enjoy. What could we design to make them happy? So, for first and foremost approach is this one. Then subsequently, to better define out of the objectives and diagrammatically way, and then subsequently come up with the many ideas alongside with the with the creative teams. We should be having a very good creative teams who can become impartial to any decisions. Sometimes we superimpose our thought process. We have to incorporate impartially, I repeat, impartially to the vision. Okay, step number 3 is so important that actually that is very, very important. Why the scrutinies are taking place? We have to be very much impartial in that. Then subsequently we can build up the design a prototype, and then this prototype need to introduce and test outfit and out of the work, and what does it? Okay, how it can be worked on. And it's again come to you as you know the post-marketing surveillance in the pharma, and at the same time here also it again comes to you whether it has been developed properly or not, whether your designs, your ideas. Obviously we are taking ideas from the customers. The ideas have been designed for you or not, whether it is addressed or not. If it is not, then how can we improve? Ask them. So based on that, we can able to emphasize our design thinking. So I just want to there are multiple because of time constraint. I only offer one hour, but I want to highlight there are many things to be discussed. If you can improvise and improvise the quality in our lifestyle, and if you can give a proper emphasis to our empathy, our human values inside, automatically design thinking would be a part and parcel of our lifetime, and automatically the product, the quality, the students will be get benefit from you, and also any company can benefit from the final product, because company want to get the benefit from the revenue, and also how they can they can sell the product. Do not sell, I repeat one more thing, the gist of the design thinking, do not sell the product, sell the concept, sell the feedbacks of the customers, of your students, of your any people, okay, in the form of product, so that they can benefit out of it. So with that note, I would like to end my conversation here. I would also like to thank Parul University for giving me this wonderful opportunity to discuss this thought process. I hope you guys are benefit out of it. Once again, thank you all. The session is open for discussion. You can have the questions.
Yes, Mr. Ankur Agrawal. I think he is having some questions.
Good morning all of you. Good morning respected sir. Good morning ma'am. Firstly we are thank Dr. Sanka Bhattacharya sir. 2 minutes. Okay, sorry. Firstly, thanks Dr. Sanka Bhattacharya for nice speak, and every slide is movable and और हर slide कुछ ना कुछ कह रही थी सर. This topic is nicely designed and every slide is perfectly, जो कि आगे आने वाले रिसर्च में बिल्कुल काम आएगी. और आपका जो आज का प्रेजेंटेशन है निश्चित तौर पर मेरे कैरियर के लिए और जो लिसनर हैं उनके लिए भी बहुत अच्छा रहेगा. जो कि मैंने यहाँ देखा कि डिजाइनिंग का प्रोसेस और थिंकिंग ये बहुत जरूरी है किसी भी रिसर्च को करने के लिए ग्लोबल रीजन पर. और जैसा कि शंकर सर आप भी बहुत यंग रिसर्चर हैं और मोटिवेट करते रहते हैं, तो जो आपकी स्लाइड्स है निश्चित तौर पर कहीं ना कहीं योगदान जरूर दें. और फर्स्ट मेरा क्वेश्चन आपसे बस इतना सा ही था कि सर इसमें आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस को कैसे इन्वॉल्व कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि इन द प्रेजेंट टाइम जो डिजाइन और थिंकिंग है वो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस की ओर भी जा रही है. और हम चूंकि मैं अपना मध्य प्रदेश से बोल रहे हैं, आई एम अंकुर अग्रवाल फ्रॉम ग्वालियर, तो यहाँ पर भी ड्रोन स्कूल्स काफी खुल गए हैं अभी रिसेंटली 2 to 3 months। तो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस से इसको कैसे जोड़ा जाए, इस पर थोड़ा सा आप प्रकाश डालें तो और ज्यादा बेटर होगा।
धन्यवाद इस क्वेश्चन के लिए। अंकुर जी, मैं आपको सूचित करना चाहूंगा कि artificial intelligence is obviously a product of our mind only, and as I already told you that design thinking, when we are going to screen the product as well as when we are thinking to incorporate the product for the society, the artificial intelligence can come up in the feedback channels. Like once the feedback are getting, we are gathering the feedback from the society. So artificial intelligence can play a pivotal role where the intensity of the feedback in which dimensions can be addressed. So once the feedbacks are coming up in a very clear-cut picture, if it has been projected to the companies as well as the institute, they can nicely address. Because we always get informations, with a lot of mix up informations we are getting, and it has always been difficult to segregate the informations. So I think in the feedback process of design thinking, when it has been customized to the person, a product was been delivered to the person. So during that time, once we are getting the feedback, that feedback will give, if it is being analyzed by artificial intelligence, that will be a great boost for the society, and in the long run, the productivity can be addressed. So one more thing I want to highlight, another aspect, PM Gati Shakti Yojana. It has been introduced in the few days back. PM Gati Shakti Yojana. So in this Gati Shakti Yojana, the PM, our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji, have actually addressed one thing. जब हम लोग हिंदी में बोलूंगा ये बात आपको, जब हम लोग कहीं पे कुछ बनाना चाहते हैं तो हम लोग इसी एक काम के फोकस करते हैं. We always focus on the particular work. उसके बाद क्या होता है कि गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर में आपने देखा होगा, कहीं पे काम हो रहा है दूसरा, कहीं पे दूसरा काम हो रहा है, कहीं पे तीसरा काम हो रहा है, तो काम होते ही रहते हैं, but it is never end. So why can't we go for a planning from the first step itself? And that needs a complete like aura science, artificial intelligence. 10 साल में उस पर्टिकुलर प्लेस का क्या चेंज हो सकता है 10 साल में. सो वो थॉट प्रोसेस लेके सब कुछ एक मल्टी वेरिएबल एनालिसिस करने के बाद विद आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस दे कम अप विद आइडिया, ओके हमें ऐसे प्लानिंग करना है, सो हमें ऐसे डिजाइन करना है. और पीएम गति शक्ति वाज ऑलवेज थॉट ऑफ, इससे क्या रहेगा आपके जो 10 साल के बाद आपका जो मान के चलो यहाँ पे एक कैनल बनना है, तो बनने की जरूरत नहीं, पहले से कैनल होगा वहां पे, और यहाँ पे रोड बनना है पहले से रोड बनेगा. शायद स्टार्टिंग में लोगों को समझ में नहीं आया कि यहाँ पे रोड क्यों बना है, लेकिन धीरे धीरे लोगों को समझ में आएगा. इससे क्या बचत होगा, इससे बचत होगा, डिजाइन से बचत क्या होगा कि आपको बार बार री इन्वेस्टमेंट की जरूरत नहीं होगी. और सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट बात, इससे आपका ये जो करप्शन कम हो जाएगा, क्योंकि वन टाइम इन्वेस्टमेंट, long term utilization. So that is a main aspect of design thinking, and also the main aspect of artificial intelligence within the design thinking. I hope I have answered your questions nicely. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, all Parallel University and all management. Thank you. Thank you, Sangha sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ankur Agrawal sir. If any other one is having any questions, for question and answer. If other one is having any questions.
Thank you so much.
Just to you as a token of our love and gratitude from Parul University.
Okay.
This is a new certificate for you, sir. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation for the webinar.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.